Welcome back to the Bryan Devore Connection. I'm your host, Bryan Devore. As I've talked about before on the show, I'm a big proponent of senior living communities for the right people. Well, unfortunately, senior living communities can be too expensive for some who really need the services. Here to talk to us today about their nonprofit organization and how they help seniors get into senior living communities is Jennifer with Shore. Jennifer, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So I first learned about Shore through a friend of mine who was involved with it. And I'm like, wait, you're telling me this is what they do? She's like, yeah. I'm like, this is too good to be true. I got to get him on the show.
Awesome.
What does SHORE stand for, and what do you guys do?
Yeah, so SHORE stands for Senior Housing Relief for Elders. Not a perfect acronym, but it really is kind of our mission is to really support seniors that are looking to enter into assisted living, independent living, or memory care. So SHORE was started probably late 2021, early 22 by a wonderful lady who's a local here in Carlsbad, Sue Farrow. She's the founder and owner of ISL Integral Senior Living based out of Carlsbad, has been in the industry for 50 years and really understands the need for assisted living as you start to contemplate other living options in your later years of life. Sue has done from working from really large companies to starting her own, and really wanted to help kind of bridge the gap for seniors who are looking to move into these assisted living facilities. We know not everybody plans for assisted living. They might not have the funds to move in, and what can SHORE do to help solve those problems?
And so, as I mentioned, senior living can be expensive, but for some people it is necessary. So what is senior living? Who does it serve? What kind of people does it serve?
You know, I think the industry has lent itself to kind of those people who have, unlimited access to funds. But we know all seniors should have access to assisted living, right? We know what it comes with, the benefits of it, social engagement, personalized care, safety and security, right? Somewhere where your family can put you and know that you're well taken care of. That should be affordable to everybody and every senior. And so we have found that there's wealthy seniors who have the money to go into communities, and then there's these maybe lower income seniors who might have state assistance programs, Medicaid or Medicaid waiver programs that help them enter in senior communities, although for that, there's wait lists.
Right.
But what about these private pay seniors who don't have a ton of liquid assets?
Sort of the middle class.
The middle class, this private pay, middle class, maybe a little on the lower end income, maybe just Social Security. How are we helping them have these opportunities that I just mentioned? And I think that's an unserved population, and we're trying to serve that.
So how do you do that? How do you serve them?
Yeah, we are, when we kind of started as an organization with the VA focus, right? We knew we couldn't open the floodgates too much and help everybody, although we wish we could. But we said, what if we start serving just our veterans? We know there's a big population here in San Diego. Let's see if we can help them. So what we did is we started a program called our VA Aid and Attendance Grant. If you're familiar with the VA, they offer a pension program called Aid and Attendance. That's up to now, I think with the cost of living, it's almost like $2,900 a month that goes to assisted living. You need activities of daily living and care. So what we tried to solve is seniors who might be eligible for that pension benefit, who are looking to move into communities, having to wait for that pension benefit to process so they can move in. Well, that's not getting them all those things that I just mentioned. So how can we solve that problem? And what we do is we were subsidizing 2 months of the pension benefit so that they can enter a community and not have to wait. We've unfortunately had to kind of reconfigure that right now, only because the VA is so behind and not processing that application. And we could be having to pay for that for months and months and months. And that's just not fair for a senior to move in and not be able to stay. So what we've kind of pivoted a little bit is paying for the cost to maybe help apply for those pension benefits. There's so many organizations out there, Patriot Angel or paralegals that do this work in the community, or aidandattendance.com that could help process that benefit. So we try to pick up that cost and thus mentoring a community in much quicker for a senior. We've also done it through a micro-grant program. That program allows a senior, most of these communities charge a community fee, first month's rent, and that could be a barrier if they're selling their homes. They don't have that money. So how are we helping? We will cover up to $1,000 to cover community fees, first month's rent for a senior to move in quicker to an assisted or independent living.
And that could be the difference for someone from being able to
Absolutely.
move and not being able to move in.
Absolutely. If they don't think about it, they don't have that $1,000, they're not getting into the community. They don't have safe living. They don't have access to social engagement. We really believe that senior living communities will help a senior thrive. And we want to be able to break down those financial barriers for seniors and their families.
Absolutely. I know we've been talking about San Diego and Sue being here, but this is not just for San Diego.
It's not. We started here, right? This was our backyard. We wanted to serve this population that was here locally, but we know we need to branch out. These assisted living communities or these operators manage communities nationwide. So how are we aligning with really strategic partnerships to serve all communities? We started to see an uptick in Florida, where we're serving seniors. Obviously, Texas, those bigger cities. But our home is always California, so we're trying to serve those up and down the state. But really trying to branch out nationwide.
That's great.
Absolutely.
So obviously, this money has to come from somewhere.
It does.
How does that work?
It does.
And how do you get the money, and who should be thinking about supporting a program like this?
Yeah, I'm so proud to say that the initial funding for this nonprofit came from our founder and board chair, Sue Farrow. She's put in, her own money because she really believes she's done so well in the industry. She really wanted to give back to this private pay, maybe lower income families who didn't have money to enter in a community. So completely funded herself, picking up general operating costs down to micro grant cost. We have really started to try to reach the people who we know really connect with our mission, right? So if you have put a parent in an assisted living community, or these community operators who know that they could give back and help subsidize cost or maybe lower the cost. We've tried to align partnerships. We've tried to align ourselves with organizations that help process, maybe senior advisors or things like that have a cost to it. Give it to us at a lower cost so we can then subsidize for that senior. Thinking about how do we break down all barriers for a senior to get into a community and who connects with that mission. I think we realize that family members, that's a really touching point for them, right?
I bet.
I want to put my mom in somewhere where I know she's cared for, she's safe. And if that's been a great experience, reach out to us, help us continue that mission for folks around the nation.
Absolutely, for sure. And like you said, assisted living can be so valuable for people. And if they feel it's a financial barrier, even if it's not, but they think it is, they say, okay, well, then I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to stay where I am. But that doesn't mean the care need goes away. Absolutely. And it's going to actually increase. Absolutely. And it gets harder to move to a community the older someone is. I feel like there's a tipping point where once you get to a certain point, their options go from this to this, and it makes it much more difficult. Now the family's scrambling to help. But they can be proactive. They can research your programs and see how it might benefit them.
Absolutely. I think even, we have a vision one day where we can do a lot of advocacy work, right? Where we're educating families of why it's important to put a senior in an assisted living facility much sooner. Don't wait for the fall or the broken hip or, hospice care. Let's do that now so that they can thrive with that social engagement and safety, the things that I mentioned. But really just trying to even advocate for government programs. How are we serving the population that I said is untouched?
Yeah.
So we want to solve it all and do it all, but we need support to do it.
Right, absolutely. Well, to support Shore and the work they do, their information's on screen. You can see their website, phone numbers there as well. So give them a call, check them out, learn how to donate and support this wonderful organization, or if you need the services, you can find that out as well. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing the mission that you guys do.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.